right, ladies and gentlemen, the YouTube citizens, y'all know what time it is. It's another Advanced Warfare commentary, and this is your boy, that's the Tru Inferno. Back at it now. We all know what time it is. This coming weekend, the NBA playoffs. Also going on tonight, Wednesday, April the 15th, is the NHL playoffs, but we're going to cover the NBA playoffs. You know, I'm going to get the NHL playoffs out the way. Red Wings win it all. Bam, there you go. Now, let's get on to the NBA playoffs. I'm going to give you all my predictions. Now, this is kind of hard because everything is not set in stone. There's still some positions that are being decided right now. They're being up for grabs. Like, for example, the 8th spot in the East is not set in stone. Indiana currently holds the spot, but actually they lost to Washington, so now they're in the tie with Brooklyn. So it's between those two squads, and I think Miami out of it more than likely. And then the rest, you know, the 8th spot out there is still not set in stone. New Orleans and Oklahoma City still going at it for that spot. And then, of course, you look at, you know, going back to the East, the Bulls trying to hang on to that number 3 spot ahead of Toronto. San Antonio trying to hang on to that number 2 spot with the Clippers, Portland, Houston, and Memphis all on their tail. So everything is not set in stone at the moment, and everything is in progress right now. But I'm going to give you all my predictions anyway, based on how I think the seasons will go. So let's get straight into it, starting with the East. I think Brooklyn will get in over Atlanta, and at this point, it really don't matter who gets in as the 8th seed in the East, because Atlanta is basically going to kill them. No, it won't be a sweep, but I predict no sweeps this year, but it's not going to be close at all. I think Atlanta going to win that series 4-1, no problem. Moving on to the 4-5 matchup, I think it's going to be Toronto against Washington. And that's one going to go down to the right. That one going to go 7 games rather. But I think Toronto, even though I want to go with Washington, but the problem with Washington is they had a lot of ups and down years. I mean, not years, but they had a lot of up and down moments this year. So I'm going to go with the more consistent team, and that is Toronto. Now, Chicago, as the 3 seed, taking on Milwaukee in a Central Division showdown here. And I like Chicago with Jimmy Butler back in the lineup, Derrick Rose back in the lineup. Milwaukee making some progress to some degree. They won't finish under 500, so that's good for them. But I still got Chicago winning this one, and I got Chicago winning that one in 6 games. So yeah, that's a no-brainer there. And then the 2-7 matchup. This is a bit of a shocker because Boston had gave Cleveland some problems, despite the fact that the usual cast of the big 3 is no longer there. Rajon Rondo is no longer there. But this, you know, obviously Cleveland had their shares of up and downs, but lately they've been more up than down. Although recently they did lose to Boston by 9 points, but you know, at that point I think Cleveland kind of shut it down for the rest of the year to some degree, whatever. As a matter of fact, they did shut it down for the rest of the year. So they lost the last 2 games to Boston. But this is Cleveland all day. 4-1. LeBron lead that squad over Boston. Now, let's go on to the semis, sticking with the East. Atlanta against Toronto. That one's going to go 6 games. Toronto do not have enough to compete with Atlanta, in my opinion. They're going to try to make it interesting, but it won't happen. I got Atlanta winning that one in 6 games. Cleveland against Chicago. That one's going 7. That one's going 7. If Chicago had home field that matchup, I might be interested in picking them. You know, especially if Derrick Rose was healthy and, you know, Chicago had home field advantage in that series. But they don't have home field advantage in that series. And we don't know how long Derrick Rose will stay healthy. That's an issue with him. So I got to go with Cleveland to win that one in 7 games. Now to the Eastern Conference Finals. And despite not having home field advantage, a lot of people liking Cleveland to knock off Atlanta here. But nope, I'm going against the grain. I do not see Cleveland. I do not see anything Cleveland related going to the finals of any sport, and that's including the NBA. I don't care to have LeBron James. I don't care to have Kyrie Irving, who been balling like a maniac. I don't care if they got all these shooters or whatever the case may be. Cleveland is not going to the NBA Finals, and you can bet your carcasses that they are not winning it anytime soon. I don't care who they got on their squad. I got Atlanta winning this one in 7. If Cleveland had home field, I might have to go against my pride and pick them. But that's not the case here. Atlanta got home field. They dominated all year long. And I'm going with Atlanta to win it in 7 and go on to the NBA Finals for the first time in what, like forever, I guess? Now let's move on down to the Wild West. Now, starting with that 1-8 matchup, I actually got Oklahoma City as the 8th seed ahead of New Orleans, and not because they're more popular. They got Russell Westbrook on the squad, but looking at the last few games of the regular season for both squads, I think OKC will have a much easier time winning than New Orleans, who have to deal with San Antonio to end their season. So yeah, there you go. But either way, it really don't matter. I still got Golden State winning that one. The difference is Golden State may slightly struggle against OKC. Now, if Kevin Durant was in the lineup, man, this would be going 7 games and OKC could win it. But Kevin Durant not in the lineup. He's done for the year. So I'm going with Golden State rather in 6 games. So yeah, there you go with that one. Now moving on to the next one. The 4-5 matchup, Portland against Houston. That's going to be a fun series, and a lot is going to be on James Harden and Dwight Howard's shoulders. And I think, especially James Harden, I think they will carry the load, and Houston will win that one in 6. So this is like the only time. This is my first pick when I went with the underdog here with the underseed. Houston as the 5th seed, excuse me, knocking off Portland 4-2 in 6 games, moving on to the next round. Now, Clippers against Memphis, and this is somewhat of a competitive rivalry, so to speak, because of how hard these two teams fought against each other in the past few postseasons, or whatever. And I like history to repeat itself. I got Memphis shockingly going on the road and winning Game 7 in LA, knocking off the Clippers 4-3. Even though Memphis has been slacking a bit late, but this is playoff basketball. Memphis been there before, so I have the Clippers, but still though, Memphis knows what to do against the Clippers, and I got Memphis knocking off the Clippers. So there you go. And then of course the 2-7 matchup, San Antonio against Dallas, a close one, just like it was last year. But I forgot how it ended last year. I think it's in either 6 or 7. It's the same this time around. San Antonio wins this one in 6. And yeah, there you go. Now let's get to the second round matchups out west. Golden State against Houston. Ooh, this is a tough one. I struggle with this one. Oh my gosh. And this series, in my opinion, is going to be won based on the performance of Dwight Howard. If Dwight Howard plays like he wants to win a championship alongside with James Harden, I can see them beating Golden State, despite not having home field advantage. But if Dwight Howard do not play like that, Golden State will win this one. Either way, it's going to be close. And I'm going with Houston. I'm going with Houston in 6. I think Houston going to steal one, possibly in Game 2 or Game 5. And then it's going to be a back and forth, which will favor Houston. And I think Houston wins it in 6. Now, Memphis against San Antonio. Now, we all know the formula here. Memphis do not have an answer for San Antonio, and they're going to play him close, but ultimately San Antonio wins this one in Memphis, basically winning it in 6 games. Now, the Western Conference Finals, this is going to be a tough one. At first, I thought, okay, this is going 7 games, but then I'm like, nah, I think this is going to go 6 as well. And this is going to go 6 in favor of San Antonio, because San Antonio now playing like a squad that should be a favorite to win it all. And I like this squad to knock off Houston. Houston going to get there next year. Either them or Golden State. But at the moment, I like San Antonio to knock off Houston in 6 games to go back to the NBA Finals. And this time they're playing against a team who some people say are trying to be like the San Antonio Spurs, and that's Atlanta. And the formula goes like this for a home field event. I think they changed it. Yeah, they changed it to like 2-2-1-1-1 instead of that 2-3-2 crap. That was dumb for the longest. But anywho, I like San Antonio to repeat. Yes, so there you have it. I like the San Antonio Spurs to win it in 6, repeating as NBA champions. And this time around, the likes of Tim Duncan, maybe all of the big 3, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili, will retire on top. I doubt Greg will retire. I'll give him another year or 2 before he ultimately retires. But I like the Spurs to win it all. Now, I will give you some sleepers. I think Houston have a shot to win it all. And I'm gonna put Golden State in there. Now, in there. At one point I was putting Memphis in that mess, but they've been free falling to some degree. So I can't really do that no more. But I like the Spurs to win it all, followed by Houston and then Golden State. And outside of those three, the Hawks. So those are like my top four teams I think could win it all. If I wanted to do a top five, oh wow, if I wanted to do a top five, I would probably say it would be between Memphis and Cleveland, and I cannot say Cleveland at all. No, I just can't do it. So if I go with the fifth team that I think could win it all, it's Memphis. I'm going with Memphis. Screw Cleveland. Y'all know how I feel about Cleveland. Y'all know how I feel about Ohio, period. So no, that's not happening. So repeat, I got the Spurs winning all the six. If not them, then probably be Houston my second pick, followed by Golden State as my third pick, Atlanta as my fourth pick, and Memphis as my sixth pick. And there you go. So there's my picks. And again, Red Wings winning the Stanley Cup. That's my NHL picks. And look at that. I dominated for my team despite the fact we lost that game. This is Jim White II saying peace out, y'all, and happy whatever.